Hi everyone. I am Subik, originally from Nepal and studying at the University of Oregon. I'm presenting the work involving myself and my supervisor, Howard Davis, and my committee members as well, um, dissertation committee members as well. Today I'm going to talk about the transformation of downtown Eugene, a city in Oregon, US. The downtown's building and retail morphology, the transformation of the city's building and retail morphology from 1965 to 85 after the implementation of the pedestrian mall. And I'm going to briefly explain what I mean by that. This paper is a part of a bigger study on the failure of Eugene's pedestrian mall strategy to revitalize its retail core, specifically retail core. It existed from 1971 to 2002, and it drastically impacted the characteristics of the downtown which exists at present. And I'm gonna show you an image as well of how it looks at present. So moving forward, Eugene is a mid-sized American city of population of around 170,000 and located in Oregon in the West Coast. It has a neighboring city of Springfield, as you can see in the right diagram, which is smaller, and this is Eugene on the left, separated by this highway, longitudinal highway on west and east. And this is the downtown. This is where the downtown is located, red dot. The city occupies an area of about 50 square miles and has a population, like I said, of 170,000. It's the second largest city after Oregon, which has a population of like 650,000 in its city itself, Portland, Oregon, which is north of Eugene. The city Eugene was originally formed in 1853. So again, I just want you to point you to us the downtown of the city and the scale of the whole city, because I'm mostly going to talk about the downtown. So the major investigation of this paper, of this presentation, is just a part of the larger research, and I'm specifically investigating how Eugene's retail core transformed after the implementation of the pedestrian mall strategy during the early 1970s. So it's actually a larger context. It's actually a part of the larger context on my interest in the urban history and morphology of post-war American urbanism and American downtowns. And I think the significance of my dissertation and this study as well is to present a kind of like a detailed morphological study of the transformation of particular American downtown impacted by a pedestrian mall. Of importance here is the pedestrian mall, right? So which was a pedestrian-only zone created by restricting the vehicles to support adjacent retail centers. Across the nation, this strategy was used to convert the city centers into pedestrian-friendly zones to attract customers into their business core, usually retail customers. However, in Eugene, like in most other cities in the US, the strategy was not successful and it failed within less than like 3 decades. So this slide, I'm just presenting the methodology. The literature framework is first of all the Congenian approach, specifically on his work on the town plans and metamorphosis at the micromorphological level, literature on downtown America, urban renewal, and retail business structure. So the data that I've used are maps of downtown Eugene and business listings. And the variables that I'm going to focus on to kind of portray the morphology of the area are the building morphology itself and the retail-oriented businesses. And I'll later explain why I chose the years that I chose. And I've mostly used S3's ArcGIS or ArcMap to work on it. So this study is mostly about the retail-oriented businesses, and I'm just going to simply refer to retail businesses by just businesses. So whenever I say businesses, it's like retail-oriented businesses, which includes the general retail, and I also included eating and drinking establishments and selected service-oriented businesses as well. So this figure illustrates the ambitions of the urban renewal plan on the left. So this was before the building fabric on the left, before the urban renewal took place, and on the right is the present morphology of downtown, right? And this is the area. So the downtown is larger than this. This was the area where urban renewal occurred, and this area in the middle, where this light orange color, was the mall. So as you can see, the renewal plan was bigger, but the mall was only a uh, part of the project. And I wanted to direct you to the difference in morphology before and after, right? Just the building footprint, for example, becomes evident, and I'm going to talk in detail about how the retail changed. Uh, again, the retail core, or the pedestrian mall plan to improve the retail core, was just a plan, just one part of the city's urban renewal program, which consisted of uh, cultural entertainment center, the offices and business center, and lots of parking, right? Um, so the whole project, CEP, or Central Eugene project, occupied 670 acres, or 3 million square feet. Um, so urban renewal, briefly, in the 1950s, was a federal program which funded cities to renew parts of their cities, usually the central area, to renew those areas from blight or urban decay, right? Um, so again, this slide is important because it shows the urban fabric before the renewal in the 60s, the plan from 1968, and the present morphology. So I'm not going to talk about the present. I'm just going to talk about the period between 1960, 60s to 1985. So this is what the pedestrian mall actually looked like the orange area in the previous slide. So this is how the downtown Eugene area looked. And again, this is the whole image is the downtown, whereas this red border is the urban renewal project. This is after the project, or when the project was first being implemented, right? In the early 1970s. And this is how the mall area stretched, no vehicular traffic. It was just like an urban park, right? And again, the lower image shows in detail an aerial view of what it looked like. Now the findings of the study, the figures on the slide show the morphology of the whole CEP area before and after the renewal. The findings of this study are divided into three categories: general analysis, building morphology, and businesses. The CEP area transformed dramatically after the renewal in terms of the building morphology and characteristics of the businesses. As shown in the leftmost figure, the goal was to eliminate the substandard buildings shown in red here. Another thing of note is that during the 1960s, there were at least 8 anchor stores, big stores, and their location influenced the determination of the mall. So this is the red boundary shows the mall area. One of the reasons for the mall's decline was actually associated with the large anchor stores leaving one by one. The CEP, however, was not only about destruction, as you can see in 1985 image, because the renewal program facilitated many large projects, including new and rehabilitated ones, in addition to small businesses. However, as this chart shows, the morphology changed drastically after the renewal. So 1985 is just a period of decline, like when the decline was kind of realized by the authorities and by the community. The ground floor coverage decreased by 18.5%. The total number of buildings decreased as well. The mean area of buildings increased. That means that the buildings got larger, and total number of retail businesses, the most important metric here, decreased in total by 40.5%, including the large retailers leaving one by one, right? So none of them. So in 85, few of them were present. Only a few of them had left. But by 2002, none of the black dots, none of the large anchor stores remained. So in this slide, the figure on the left shows the transformation of the retail core's building fabric along the years. One thing immediately visible is the scale of the buildings before and after the renewal. So 73 is the period of, so this 68 is before renewal, 73 is the first years of renewal when they were destroying the buildings, new ones were coming up. 78, I would say, is the most, the best period of the mall when it was like flourishing. But by 1985, they had kind of realized it was kind of declining. Following the demolition of substandard buildings, the inventory declined from 92 to 57. As you can see, the inventory of the total buildings declined by 38%. The total ground floor coverage declined by 18.5%. One of the important strategies in the urban renewal plan was to provide opportunities for the development of larger building and bigger parcels created by consolidating smaller and inefficient pre-renewal parcels. According to analysis, the average area of the building increased by 32%. Additionally, the percentage share of very large buildings, as you can see here, very large buildings increased from 18% to 39% of the buildings were very large, like occupying more than 10,000 square feet. So I have been talking about the retail course decline a lot. So I'm gonna kind of explain it now. So this is gonna be my last slide. Or maybe there's one more slide after this. So as discussed previously, improving the number or capacity of businesses was one of the main goal, but the total businesses declined from 131 to 78 only. And in terms of percentage share of buildings with specific number of businesses, those with 1 and 2 retail businesses increased, right? Whereas there was actually a decline in the percentage share of buildings without any retail business. So lastly, the graph on the left shows the entropy value. Entropy value is a metric that shows the degree of mixture of different categories like required for diversity, for resilience. And I'm just showing this metric and the categories I've included are apparel stores, eating and drinking, service-oriented specialty. So considering all these categories and considering the number as well, I developed a metric using the entropy formula, and I found that it decreased significantly compared to pre-renewal area compared to before. So from more than 1.8 to less than 1.5.
Just please come to the conclusion.
Mm-hmm. So finally, my last finding was that the apparel stores, which was the main store before, it lost its position and it was taken over by specialty stores. So retail at present, even now, is like known for mostly for specialty stores and eating and drinking establishments in the downtown. These areas, these pictures I just put, I'm working on these pictures just like still, but I got influence from Konjan's work on Tisdale Yard, so I'm trying to develop like a story of how the plots change. So I'm still working on this image, but that's all. Thank you so much.